Hello, thank you so much for joining me. My name is Em, it's short for Emily, and you can find me at the TPS official Facebook group or even on Instagram at Twilight Planner. So I've been subscribed to TPS kits for about 3 months now, and I've been sharing my projects on Facebook. Someone had asked if I have ever thought of making a video, so I'm going to try it. This is my first time, so I got all my setup ready, so let's just dive right in. I wanted to share how I make my die cut clusters and dashboards and my thought process. Of course, there's no right or wrong way. I just hope that you can find some helpful tips in creating your own pieces of artwork. So anyway, let's start off with first the tools that we need. So I have my TPS paper, my die cuts, embellishments, and my adhesives. So just a quick tip on how I store my embellishments. I put them all in these little baggies organized by color and line them up in a box. So when my kit comes in, I just grab and match the coordinating colors that I want for it. So just a quick idea there for you. So let's clear this out and we will get started. So I first like to put them in different piles. So in this case, tags, florals, sizes by size, or my TPS girls. So then I start with my clusters, like just grouping them together. So I was able to come up with 6 different clusters and with just a few pieces of die cuts left over. So now I'm going to show you how I assemble my first cluster. I really love adding dimensions to my pieces, so I like to use adhesive foam mount. My favorite one is the Stampin' Up! Dimensionals because they're already pieced out. A good alternative is the Scotch foam mounting tape. And so you can find it at any craft store or office store. So for the first cluster, I want to frame my foiled Planner Girl tag. So my TPS girl is going to go right next to that, and the floral just under the words there. So I need to add foam to the back of her hat and right by her dress there. Here we go. And for the flower, I'll probably place one there, there, and maybe down here too. So I probably will put a little dimension underneath here to just lift this off of her boot there. So one more. I just finished it off with a little cute bow I tied to the top of the tag. So I'm going to go ahead and make my other clusters and then share with you up close each one. Okay, I have all of my clusters lined up and they're so pretty. But before I dive into these, I wanted to show you how I form and shape my clusters. So I do that with the help of base layers. So I use a lot of doilies in my projects, but then I also have this die cut, which is more rectangular. So I'll show you how I use them. We already went through how I assembled this one, so let's set that aside. For this cluster here, I placed all of my clusters on top of a textured cardstock here. I actually used an embossing folder. This one, I think it's retired, so you can't get it, but it's from Sizzix and Stampin' Up! And it's basically an embossing folder you'd open up, place your cardstock inside, and then you run it through the Big Shot. So that provides that really cute texture in the background there. And I also added one of the wood chip letterings from the kit, and the 2 flowers I got from Hobby Lobby, and a little bit of dimension there. And of course the little bow on the tag. For this cluster here, I knew I wanted to put the TPS girl with the ladder together, but there was a lot of vertical alignment So I wanted to throw in the horizontal tag to kind of balance it off a little bit. So this tag, I actually cut it down. So if I grab one of these, this is the original size. So I thought it stuck out a little bit too much. So for this tag here, I snipped it and then trimmed it down or taped it together and on the back, and then stuck it onto my base layer here. And of course I have another wood chip lettering there for the bottom, that one. This tag here is probably one of my favorites. I have 4 different dies, and I try to keep a kind of triangular shape here. And actually for this, I stacked up 2 foam dimensionals to give it even more lift there. So that's that one. I also used a little piece of tape on the back to attach it. So that one there. It'll be super cute. For this one, I used the base layer, one of the burlap doilies. This one's actually from Michael's. I got it on clearance. And I put 3 pieces together. This is actually one of the last sets that I put together. I couldn't decide. I knew I wanted to use a hat, and it kind of worked best with these here. So when placing the dies on my base layer, I try to keep, again, with the shape, the overall shape here. So for attachment to the doily, since this is more of a fabric doily, you want to make sure you're using, well, I did use some foam mounts, but I also use glue dots as well. So glue dots are really good to attach different types of materials besides paper, so fabric or ribbon. My last one is this here, and I used, again, the top note base layer and added a flower from, I think it was Hobby Lobby too. It was more yellowish, so I took some mustard color ink, and I actually inked up the flower to give it more of a deeper color to match that flower there. For the birdcage, I punched a little tiny hole and put a cute little ribbon there. And I also added some embellishments with the ribbon on the corners there, and just used tape to secure those down. There's that one. So I have all my dashboard covers trimmed down and scored and folded, as well as all my dies. I will be mounting these on for my new TN, but before I finish, I wanted to share with you what I do with a couple of my favorite dies. So I always pick 2 of my favorite die clusters from the kit, and I create a bookmarker. So I'll show you how I use it. So this is one from the December kit that I made. I saved up some of the extra scraps I made to use my dashboards and laminate it, and attached dies to the front. And then for the back side, I made a cluster with florals from Hobby Lobby and then a tag up at the top. So I'll show you how I use it in my TN. So I have my TN here. I'm gonna go to my weeks. And normally, when we do a bookmarker, it's usually loose. So I like to keep my bookmarkers attached to my band. So normally in an insert, we would open it up to the middle of the insert. So you can see the staples there. And it would go into the band. So that's how it's normally used, right? Now, let's say it's not February. We are in March. So let's flip to the March. So instead of inserting it normally, I would insert it into my band this way, so not in the middle. But put it under there. And then my bookmarker goes under that band, just like that. So it's kind of nice because I'll be able to enjoy my most favorite clusters every week. And then if you make 2 bookmarkers, you can even switch them out every week or so. So you can see how it has a little tab there. So there we go. So I wanted to show you my other bookmarkers in case you wanted me to do another video on how I make it for the March kit. But here is one from the January kit. So I'll just show you real quick. the back side, just a little pocket. And here's another one from the January kit as well. Here it is opened up. And the last one was made with the Valentine's Day digital kit. So this actually sticks out from the top in my TN. In the back. And here it is opened up. Okay, so let me know if you want to see how I make the bookmarker using the March kit, and I can work on that for you, okay? Thanks for joining me.